So first of all, good afternoon, everyone. And I want to thank you for joining me today and for being brave enough to log on and listen to a retired fundraiser. But let me assure you right up front, I'm not going to be asking you for anything, except that you consider some new ways of thinking about your giving. And I'm quite confident you'll be inspired by our time together today. It's a real pleasure for me to be with you because any conversation about giving is, for me, one of the most powerful transformational conversations anyone can have. Now, you might think it's unique to have a fundraiser speak rather than be blessed with a more conventional presentation of spiritual wisdom and enlightenment. And of course, you'd be right, it is unique, but it's also a very profound opportunity for us all to consider an important aspect of our spiritual evolution and how we express that into the world to create a world that truly works for everyone. So today's an opportunity to discuss aspects of our being that may be vitally important to you, but are not a part of common conversation. We'll be talking about expressing our eternal nature in a very practical way by including charitable bequests in our wills and estate plans, or to put it more bluntly, since we can't take it with us, what are our options? So, what brings me here today? As you all know, there is a profound transformation building up in our culture. It's in our families, even our spiritual institutions, as I know Reverend Barbara has discussed with you often. And in part, it's due to the technologies available to us, like we're using today, in part due to the lasting impact of the shutdown and the isolation we faced a few years ago, and in part due to an emerging evolution in consciousness that, as powerful as it is, we seem to hear more about the worldwide reactions to it than the good news itself of peace, kindness, and care for our neighbors, our environment, and our world that is spreading. There's a lot going on. It reminds me of the 60s when my generation was defying societal norms and all of its institutions. And the wheel has turned full circle now. And again, our culture, including spiritual communities, are seeing the old ways of being relevant intergenerationally disappear quickly. I know that at my center here in Calgary and yours in Toronto, we are all seeing the impact of this change, but not as severely as most religious communities. It's all consciousness, right? So I'm grateful we are open to new ideas and new conversations. Reverend Barbara asked me to speak not simply because the area of fundraising I've specialized in for the past 25 years has been absolutely transformational to many charities and spiritual organizations, but because this way of giving is transformational, particularly for you, the heart-centered donors who understand and appreciate the application of spiritual principle. So this afternoon, I'll tell you a few inspirational stories that I believe will allow you to consider your giving in a more holistic and more spiritually grounded and motivated way. And if you're waiting for a call to action, my apologies, there won't be one. I just want you I just want to get you excited about the opportunities open to you if you choose to participate. And I am so honored to be able to share these ideas with you today. Now, for those of you who might be new here today, or if CSL on the Lake is not yet your spiritual home, please consider these ideas in terms of those charities which are close to your hearts. And hopefully you will also get full value from these thoughts. My work since the mid-90s has been talking to donors about exactly these kinds of donations. So I quickly agreed when Reverend Barbara asked me to introduce these ideas to you. My goal for today is to simply start a conversation about giving more thoughtfully through your will, and to help you understand charitable giving a little better so you can be a more sophisticated donor and make more informed choices when the time comes. In fundraising, we talk about stop and think gifts. The idea is when we give $10, $20 at the door, for example, it's often done without much thought. We do it simply because it's the right thing to do and because we were asked. When we consider giving an amount that forces us to stop and think first, an incredible opportunity opens up, an opportunity to test our beliefs in the divine laws of circulation and reciprocity, to align our intentions with our personal mission and vision, and to ensure our choices and actions are in agreement with who we are here to be. So today, I trust you'll have an opportunity to reconsider your giving from a slightly different point of view. And with your family and partners in life, to take the time to think through what is important to you and to consider if acting on any of these ideas is the right thing for you to do. So I get lots of questions about fundraising. Isn't it hard? I could never ask for money. And another is, what has inspired me the most? I'll answer that second question first, because frankly, it's the donors who inspire me, the people whose stories are equally heartbreaking and heartwarming, and who fulfill their desire to be of service in whatever way they can. And no, it's not hard because I don't approach it as asking for money. I like to have deep, personal, and purposeful conversations with people about their lives and what brings them meaning. The desire on their part to do something about it just naturally evolves. So, no, fundraising for me has been a blessing, not simply because of the constant community building, but because I can work with amazing people doing amazing things. I've been doing this joyful work for more than 25 years now, and as a result, I've become quite experienced in all aspects of working with vision-driven individuals. I focus on what's been called planned or legacy giving, outlining the mutual benefits to both the donor and their charity of including gifts and wills in estate plans. So at that practical level, it's been a very fulfilling career. But at a deeper level, it has also been enriching beyond my imagining. I was just completing ministerial studies with Reverend Barbara and Reverend Sharon and a few other brave souls when I took my first charity position. As I settled into charity work, I realized this was my ministry, helping donors achieve deep personal satisfaction by fulfilling their philanthropic goals and, in the process, supporting work that's vital to our communities and visibly improving the lives of young and old and in between, struggling due to financial, educational, physical, emotional, and social barriers. It's immensely satisfying work, as you can imagine, because, as I mentioned, I was not, in fact, asking for money. I was talking to people about their greatest passions, their reason for being, and helping them find ways to express exactly that. And in the process, I developed a number of workshops to coach young people new to fundraising to help them create donor-centered, values-driven practices of their own, which continues to be one aspect of my passion for this work. And now I've come full circle. The past few years, I wanted to bring what I've learned back to our centers for spiritual living, and today is another milestone on that journey. You see, working with donors has opened my eyes to the workings of spirit in magnificent ways. Some donors are wealthy, others not at all, but they share one thing in common: a deep desire to be of service, to give where they see the greatest need. They are compassionate, generous, joyful people who celebrate life by engaging in it, by participating in the divine flow of creation and doing the work they deeply believe is theirs to do. That's right. No matter their philosophy, beliefs, or background, they are practicing metaphysicians, practitioners of the highest order, not only living a life of faith, but acting from that faith, and in the process, fulfilling their version of CSL's vision of creating a world that works for everyone. It's so exciting. So, why do they give? Again, the question can be answered on many levels. We've touched on one of those reasons, and it's because it fulfills a deep innate need within themselves that seems to be fundamental to the human condition. We help and support each other. That's how humanity is defined and why communities were created. We are hardwired to be of service. There's something about giving that gives full value back to the giver. There's a wonderful reciprocity. And of course, for those who have studied the spiritual law of reciprocity, that ever evolving circle of giving begins with us. Our activation of this divine principle creates in us a wonderful feeling of connection and satisfaction. We can truly inspire ourselves. Our giving is a powerful demonstration of what is important to us, a manifestation of our passion for life, and a vitally important extension of our life's purpose. We hear so often that we are not measured by what we gain, but by what we give. We read in the paper of magnificent gifts by wealthy people who are honored for exactly that, their philanthropy, which is simply the love of humanity. But please know that philanthropy is not reserved for the wealthy. Some of the most amazing gifts I've seen are by people who are poor, ill, disadvantaged, and as a result, have had a full circle experience of the life giving joy that comes with a selfless gift. First, as a recipient, and then as a donor. Our conscious participation in our giving lifts our spirits, feeds our souls, and if all the studies are correct, actually makes us happier and healthier people. The benefits are both transformational and tangible. Our teaching's founder, Ernest Holmes, speaks rarely of giving in and of itself. Instead, he speaks of it in terms of activating our abundance as a key element in the law of reciprocity, whereby our giving is returned to us manyfold. In his book, A Holmes Reader on Practical Wisdom, he includes a prosperity affirmation titled, Divine Abundance is Forever Manifesting in My Affairs. And Dr. Holmes says, as I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security, for I know I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence, forever seeking an outlet through me. My cup runneth over. I exist in limitless possibility. Or, as the great teacher Jesus famously said, give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over. So, as we consciously and intentionally give, we find ourselves not simply in the flow of divine abundance, but initiating that flow. It's exciting, right? We initiate it through our giving, but also simply by being grateful. Gratitude is a generative energy, the energy of abundance. And so to be intentionally grateful is to open ourselves to the abundance of the universe. The return, pressed down and running over, is rarely the motivation when one makes a charitable gift, but it is a promise and a principle that it shall be our experience. But there's also a more practical answer to the question of why people give. That is, they give because they've been introduced to a cause that is important to them. They've been shown how to give more effectively, and perhaps most importantly of all, they were asked. So, with your permission, I'd like to go through two of those steps today. That is, let's discuss the teaching of science of mind and specifically your center as a charitable cause worthy of your support. And then allow me to encourage you to consider new ways of giving. As for the how to give, if you would like a more personal conversation on strategic charitable giving and how a well thought out plan can create a significant impact for the causes that you care about with minimal impact on your after tax net worth, email me or talk to Reverend Barbara and we can arrange a time to talk. Today, my intention is to perhaps be more inspirational than informational and to speak to the deeper aspects of who we are in relation to our charitable nature. Several years ago, my friend Abe was on the tennis court living his bliss. Abe had been a very successful realtor, property manager, and was now retired. He was very involved in our center in Calgary, leading social events, even serving many years as board chair. He was a great friend to many people and was truly a force for good in our center and in the world. Getting into a rhythm, stroking tennis balls over the net, he suddenly stumbled and fell. The doctors said the heart attack was so profound he likely was gone before he hit the ground. Without warning, a hole was left in our spiritual community and in our hearts. We were left to mourn and to wonder. Sometime later, a letter arrived informing us that Abe had left a gift in his will to the center. Initially, we were surprised as there had been no indication it was coming, but as we thought about it, we realized this is exactly the kind of consideration that Abe put into so many aspects of his life. The bequest arrived at a very opportune time for our center, as there were expenses related to a previous building that were taxing the budget. His gift from a lifetime of work and caring was very welcome and got us through a tough time, just as Abe himself had done over the years. And so, in recognition, we named the boardroom in our former offices for Abe and installed a photo and inscription so future boards would remember and be inspired. Abe and I never talked about a charitable bequest, and I regret not having that conversation with him. And so now I'm left to wonder what his motivation was. Was it for practical tax considerations, or was it more personal, deeper, an expression of his spiritual nature, a natural extension of his place in our community? I have to assume it was both, for Abe was both a practical and a spirit-led man. I learned later that there was a history of heart trouble in his family, which left me to wonder if he had considered his mortality, or more properly, his immortality, and saw a gift by will as a gift by, from, and for his eternal nature, a gift that will survive him, speak so eloquently about what was important to him in his life and what he wants to continue to support after his passing. For that is what a charitable bequest is. It's a powerful declaration to yourself and your world what you believe. It is your testament, if you will, of what you want your life to be, to mean, to be remembered for after you are no longer here to speak for yourself. And so this afternoon, the question I'd like to propose is, what does this teaching mean to you? How has it been transformational in your spiritual development and in your experience of life? In what ways have you been enriched by what you have come to know about spirit and your relation to it as you participated in your center's programs? What's your dream for your center and for this teaching? Would you like to better secure your center's programming for children, for students, practitioners? Or would you like to participate in taking this teaching beyond the walls of the center and be expressed in direct service to our greater community? Perhaps even the kind of social activism that's being discussed at depth in many CSL communities right now. Think of the good this teaching has brought you. Is the transformation you have experienced something you would want to be more available to your family, community, and the world? Have you ever taken the time to consider what it is that would be most meaningful to you eternally as a remembrance of your life well lived? Or even taken time to consider that you could do something in that regard and, as a result, make a true and tangible difference in the world? I recall a conversation I had a few years ago with a business owner while I was working on a campaign to house thousands of people experiencing homelessness in Calgary. I asked her, "What keeps you up at night?" Tears suddenly came to her eyes, and she took a moment. Then she explained that when she lays her head down at night, she's struck by the thought that there are many women in our city who do not have a safe and warm place to lay their heads, let alone a pillow. They're alone, defenseless, and at great jeopardy on the cold, hard streets. Needless to say, I didn't need to ask for her support. It was freely given. A large annual gift backed up by a bequest so that the interest earned would continue her yearly donation after she was no longer with us. You see, she understood. A gift in a will is much different than your weekly or monthly giving, and even different than a large gift during your lifetime. Lifetime gifts tend to ensure your charity's urgent and current needs are met. Gifts from your estate will be received at some future point, so by definition are not for current needs. What they do is serve a broader, a longer term mission and vision, a mission and vision that ideally you share. Dr. Holmes tells us that life is an eternal givingness, the offering of the cosmic self to the joy of its own fulfillment. We are a part of this joy, and we find fulfillment only as this joy passes through us to others. Everything moves in circles, he says. We short circuit our own good when we refuse to pass it on. So, my question today is, what is your good? What is your personal vision? And to what extent do you see your center as the means by which that vision is made real? This is a powerful conversation to have with your family around the dinner table and your friends over coffee. If your personal vision is in alignment with the vision of CSL, then I'd like to ask if you would like to do something in a very intentional and meaningful way to act on your vision, and in so doing, further the mission of your center. Now, you may be thinking that you're already giving all you can, and for that, I do sincerely thank you on behalf of the center and its members. It's a fact that you must first take care of your personal needs when considering your giving. What we're considering this afternoon, though, is an estate gift, not a gift from income, and therefore one that will not impact your financial well-being at all. And of course, you want to ensure your heirs and other friends and family members are also well taken care of. Again, I agree. So after ensuring your own well-being and that of your family, I'd like to ask that you consider the charities important to you, and particularly your spiritual home. It can seem daunting at first, but once you realize that whether you make a gift for which you receive back a significant tax credit, or not make a gift and give up a significant portion to the government in taxes, the after-tax difference to your heirs is actually quite minimal if you plan well. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to speak with many people who've decided to take this step. I recall one man from Saskatoon. He was quite severely disabled as a result of a car accident, and he was living on a disability pension. So he had no income to speak of, but he did own his home. He was facing brain surgery. His doctor suggested he put his affairs in order. He decided the most important thing to him was to support the charities that had supported him and enriched his experience of life. It's amazing thinking. And so through his will, he chose to donate his home after he no longer needed it. And in so doing, created the promise of a profound impact on the lives of other disabled people who would be the beneficiaries of his amazing generosity. Another couple I had the honor of working with had done very well financially. Both were accountants in Calgary and would have a substantial seven-figure estate. They had planned to donate $25,000 and leave the remainder to their nieces and nephews. Admirable indeed, but was there a strategy that could better achieve both their desire to support their extended family and their favorite charities? And so I demonstrated to them how, by increasing their charitable gift from highly taxed assets, such as registered funds, they would be creating tax credits that would result in their extended family still getting a significant bequest, but with their charities also benefiting significantly. And so they chose to leave much of the taxable portion of their estate to charity, leaving the resulting tax credits to their nieces and nephews. Again, amazing generosity facilitated by a plan. A woman from Sherwood Park I worked with had lost both her husband and her son. Unimaginable tragedy. In their honor, she created an endowment fund to fund a student bursary in their names, that they might live forever in the education of young people coming up in the trade that both father and son had enjoyed so much. Such an amazing expression of love. Every gift is different because every giver is different. And so, how would you like to be remembered? What exclamation point do you want to bring to your life? And will you do it? If you're inspired to take this conversation into a more practical realm, I invite you to follow up with Reverend Barber or with me. So, as we wrap up, imagine. Imagine a world that works for everyone, where every need is met. Imagine everyone being honored for who they are without discrimination or recrimination. Imagine your own sense of joy and satisfaction knowing that you have made a meaningful difference and being recognized for participating in the transformation of your community and the positive evolution of our world. Imagine your dream realized. Today, I'm imagining CSL on the lake and its members having a higher vision through giving from our eternal nature, and in that, creating a more powerful experience of community and a more joyful and enthusiastic expression of spirit than ever before. All I ask is that you give. Give your personal mission in life a fuller expression. Give your spiritual home a stronger assurance. And please give yourself a chance to reach beyond your grasp, to grasp the hand of the divine and be one with the greatest giver of all, the eternal spirit within. Spirit in me clearly sees and honors that spirit in you. Namaste. And so now let's cement these ideas in mind in treatment. So please join me, if you will, in knowing that there is one divine giver, one divine intelligence, one eternal wisdom that expresses fully and completely, joyfully, lovingly, generously through each and every one of us. And so today, as we consider these ideas of how we initiate the law of reciprocity, bringing joy not only to our communities, to our society, but giving ourselves a greater opportunity for joy and selfless self-expression. Today, I am so grateful for this opportunity to speak these marvelous truths, grateful for the opportunity to participate in these truths and to experience the joy that comes as a result of this divine partnership that is such an integral and such an important part of my life. And I know for all of us, such an integral part of who we are and how we express that into life, into being. So this afternoon, I know that there is one intelligence, one joyous, loving life living through me, expressing more fully, living more completely, loving every aspect of all there is. And I know that as I resonate with these ideas and choose intentionally to bring them into fuller expression, that I am in that moment the hand of the divine extended, the heart of a loving God, loving spirit expressed into my world. And for this, I am so grateful, so thankful. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you for this time together. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this incredible teaching that allows us to express life at such a high level. Thank you for our teachers. Thank you for Reverend Barbara, Reverend Sharon, all the volunteers at CSL on the Lake for creating this incredible dynamic experience. I release this word now into the mind that lovingly and joyfully makes it so. And so it is.